Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about criticism and dealing with it. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, how do you deal with criticism as a programmer? And the short answer is you need to first and foremost be emotionally secure. And the second thing is to determine what type of criticism you are receiving. Let me explain. So basically hopefully this is not going to come as news to you, but as a software developer, you are going to take a fair bit of criticism, or not necessarily always take it, but you're going to feel as you're being criticized. It's a very sensitive topic for quite a lot of people, especially in the beginning of things, before you can kind of settle into what I like to call professional maturity and things of this nature. You kind of get to a point where in most cases you don't really feel all that attacked or sensitive about someone saying that, oh, this was bad or this could have been better, etc., etc., etc. You create a healthy emotional distance between yourself and the code that you write. And that is something that touches on the first thing I was mentioning, that you need to be emotionally secure when you do software development. In the beginning, this is very tricky, especially for junior developers, because you are in the beginning of things very likely to feel personally connected. Like it's something that quite a lot of developers do. They feel as if their code is a reflection of themselves, and that if their code is bad or someone criticizes it, it's an attack on them personally. And it's easy for me to say this right now because I've gone through enough coding now that I know that this is not true. So I don't feel that way anymore, but most people feel this way, and I did too in the beginning, because in the beginning you're very eager to please and you're eager to get acknowledgement for the work that you do. But that's the first part of this. So dealing with criticism, it is vital for you to understand that you're just a craftsman. You're not an artist. This is not like, most people are not attacking you. It's just that your work needs to be something that you did and something that you are objectively evaluating and stating that, yeah, well, I think that this person was wrong about this because I think that there are a few things that are good about this, or this is actually correct, this should probably change and it should actually be changed for the better. So distance yourself from the code. It's just something you made. It's like anything. It's just a disposable thing. It's not a reflection of you as a human being. The second thing that you need to ask yourself whenever you're receiving criticism is, okay, what type of criticism am I receiving? Am I receiving constructive criticism, or am I receiving criticism that is just someone's really angry with you for some reason? Now, if someone is just angry with you and they're kind of shooing you out or something like that, they're, as my dear bosses like to call it, they give you feedback, and that only means one thing. Nobody ever took anybody into a meeting room to tell them how great they are. Or maybe they did, I've just never seen it. But getting criticism in that fashion, there's nothing much you can do about it. Like, you did something that someone is upset about. The best tip I can give you and as to how to deal with this is to always keep your cool. Always. Never get engaged, ever. Emotionally, like, do whatever, like, just steel yourself, bite down, put on a understanding face or a sympathetic face, whatever you want, and just let it happen. Like, just trust me on this. Don't lose your cool, because if your boss or some person who within your company is kind of shooing you out and they're being unreasonable, odds are that if you get engaged yourself, you might say something that might make the situation even worse. You might do something, or you might actually have the whole thing backfire, even if you're the innocent party. Deal with it when it's happening in the most cool and controlled manner that you can. And then when this moment is right, then you deal with the problem in the fashion that you see most fit. It can be anything from going to your boss and having a serious discussion about the behavior of another person. It can be like they've just kind of finished chewing you out, and then in a very constructive and well, controlled way, just telling them that, no, I don't agree with what you're saying, and this is the way how I see it. Keep that cool. Imagine that you're in a political debate or something like that. There are other people watching, and if you start acting like an asshole or like something like that, odds are that you will actually lose face, or you will actually lose more than if you can keep your cool and be controlled in that manner. I'm sorry to say that there's very rarely a lot of room for emotional outbursts in an office culture and things of this nature. It's usually a better bet. I mean, there are situations where you can't, of course, control it, but usually it's a better bet for you to keep your cool and just be calculating, if that makes sense. Pick your battles. Make sure that you are acting on whatever criticism or like the emotions that you're having at the right moment. Don't just blurt it out there. Be controlled. Constructive criticism, on the other hand, now that is also something that we should consider, and that is usually also a matter of personal perspective and personal maturity. So the thing to remember here is that if someone's criticizing your work or saying that these things could be better, I mean, depending on how they behave, if someone is a little bit clumsy with their words, or I can hear that they want to help, but it's just that they go about it in a way that makes me feel a little bit bad. I usually state to them that, you know, I appreciate your feedback, or I appreciate your constructive criticism. You just pick your words, dude, because I did put a lot of effort into making this into something useful, and maybe it didn't go exactly as I wanted to, but I'm still, you know, I still have feelings, right? But constructive criticism, the thing to remember here is that, guys, the person is not attacking you necessarily. Like, they're not trying to make you feel bad. They're trying to share a viewpoint with you that they have on your work. And you should try your best here to like let go of the ego. Just let that go. As I was saying earlier, emotionally distance yourself from the code that you write. It's just work. It's just a task. You can imagine it being any task. It can be how you fold your laundry. Who the fuck gives a shit if you're good at it or bad at it, as long as it gets the job done right? Try to emotionally distance yourself and then really hear them out. You may not have to, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to agree with everything that they say. It's just that you need to really try to be humble enough to hear them out. And at the end, you simply ask them, all right, so how would you suggest that I improve this piece of code or this thing that I'm doing, or so forth? And they will usually tell you. People are really good at telling you what you did wrong if you ask them about it. Trust me on that. I really know that. But that's kind of the best way, I would say, to deal with criticism in general. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you're going to deal with criticism as a software developer, the first and foremost thing you need to do is to start learning how to emotionally distance yourself from the code that you write. Your code is not a reflection on you, and you are not, your identity should not be connected to the software that you write. Be more than your code, if that makes sense. The other part is, all right, so someone's really angry with you, they might be unreasonable, they might be in the wrong, you might be completely innocent, doesn't really matter. If it's your boss or someone like that, the only thing you should, like the best thing for you is just steel yourself, bite down, and just let them kind of go until such a point where you can actually, in a very controlled and calculated way, deal with that issue. Don't lose your cool. Never ever lose your cool if you can avoid it, because odds are that you might actually put yourself into deeper shit than you're already in. Constructive criticism, try to let go of that ego. Try to just remember, look at this criticism as just somebody else's viewpoint. That doesn't make them, they're not right or wrong. This is just their viewpoint. Hear them out, reflect on what they said, and ask, okay, so how do you suggest that I should fix it? And maybe you're going to learn something from that. Because I can promise you this, the quickest way for you to become a really good software developer is by staying humble and to constantly seek to improve like to let go of that ego and constantly seek to improve your own craft. And usually the quickest way there is to have the opinion or the reviews of other people on the work that you do. They're not always going to be right. Sometimes you're going to listen to them and you're not going to agree, but at least you should hear them out. Have a great day.